Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and chill. I'm your host Johnny and I hope you've had lovely weeks and you're about to have even more amazing weekends, and maybe you'll be working with me today coding along. Maybe you'll just have me on the background as I code along. We'll keep building on our little SaaS app. We did quite a few things last time, and as always you can actually go to tenexify.dev to click around yourself and see what we've been up to. Today, there's been a slight change of plans, and I'll switch straight into the big view here to show that we have login and logout functionality. We've created an interviews table where we can keep track of all the interviews that we're gonna have. I've slightly refactored behind the scenes the routes and how this works. Like we have dedicated routes now instead of a model here. Maybe my face is like a bit too big, but maybe I was born with it. So yeah, in the stream we made this as a model just for fancies, but I ended up doing it as a dedicated route on /create, and maybe I would change this and have it be on /new, because we know that it's create because we're doing CRUD, create, read, update, delete. But users probably will not, so let's just keep it to new, create new interview, and then they get it a bit better. But I've also added the ability to edit an interview that you've added in a very similar route. You just go to interviews and the interview name. I guess this doubles as also the way to see the more information about your interview as well. And what we'll be doing today, the change of plans is that I'll be adding search. So we'll be adding search, filtering, pagination, and sorting to this app. Let's open it up on big screen as well to have a look. So we have this table, looks lovely. Initially, I thought that we wouldn't be having too many of those records because on the free plan, you would only be able to add like 1 or 3 or 5. So something manageable. So I wasn't going to do search, but a kind user and commenter, watcher, I said, left a nice comment to add Debouncing table, server-side pagination, searching, sorting, and filtering, and I was inspired to do so today. So thanks again for this suggestion. I love doing things that people find useful and want to see. However, we will not be using Debouncing table here. I've used Debouncing stuff in the past, like React table, React query is still awesome, but I am finding myself not using things that are meant for client-side state management because I'm doing less and less of a client-side state management. I think we were at a point back in the PHP days where doing something like a table with filtering and sorting was pretty easy. Maybe didn't look that cool on the client side, but on the developer side, it was quite straightforward to set up. Then on peak React, on peak client-side React, it became very confusing to manage the state. Like you had the data, you needed to resort it, reshuffle it, hide some things, make some other things appear. It became quite complicated, and that's why tools like React table was needed. But now with the meta frameworks, and that includes Next.js and server actions and what they're doing over there, server components, now it's less needed. And especially with SvelteKit, we've done another stream regarding this issue before, search stream when we were doing the dashboard from the Next Learn course. And I thought that you can get away with a great UX while having zero client-side state. So doing everything server-side still leads to a great experience, and we'll be trying to recreate this today and do it even better, and also hit things like sorting and filtering, which we kind of discussed but didn't really. So that's the plan for today. Let me know if you think that's interesting. Let me know if you've been struggling with tables and sorting and filtering, which is a big part of the job, let's be honest. And let me know what do you think of this design I've put up. Is it like too many colors, too little? Remember, we have light mode as well, which looks different, even more like the colorful, I would say, than this. But hey, that's by the by. So we'll keep building our SaaS app. We'll see what we have in store for the future. You can always find links in the description and the whole plan of this, and you can always suggest what I should be covering next. But the first thing we're going to do today is talk about how search is usually done. So in this view and every view, if you search something on Google, you will find how searchParams work. I don't know if you've done this flow before, but you'll notice that in google.com/search, there is a query parameter Q for query, and then it adds the query that I have. And I guess in this case, it has like the amended query, like the auto-corrected query or whatever magic they're doing. And they also have the original query instead, in case you want to actually search for how to and not how do, like, which is amazing how they account for this typo. But that's by the by. The point is that they have a queue for query and then what the user has searched for, and then they do something behind the scenes. So in the end, it will give you the results that are most relevant to you and most relevant according to how much advertisement, how much other money they get to show what is on top. And they do even more magic stuff to get like these little cards or depending on your query, but that's by the by. The point is, with searchParams, even Google, that's how Google Search works with searchParams and then do stuff client side. And that's what we're going to do today. And I think once again, I'm gonna use like actually query as the searchParams here and not Q. Let me know if you want me to use Q instead. But the idea is, if I search for query double, then the only result I want back is the double find one, because that should be the only one that has a matching double. Maybe I can add like a few similar jobs here, we'll see. And in the future, as we continue with this, we can also search the role. We can also search for maybe even core skills and nodes and all of that. That would be more useful. So when the user just types in double or love, I guess they can find a few more results here. Usually people just want to type things in a search field, and then it will search all the text fields that are there. That's the first stage of what we're going to do. So let's account for this. Let's grab the query parameter on the server side. How do we do this? Let's see that we are in Q Nintendo. And if we get only the Nintendo job here, then I consider it a success. To get this server side, we need to go to the corresponding page.server.ts for this route. Looks like I'm not using this anymore. A little refactor. And here, in the load method, the page server TS, I have access to the URL, and that's the URL object. So in that URL object, I also have access to the search params, I suppose. And from the search params, I can get the query, because I named it query this time, and see if I have some. Last time we did this, I had obfuscated what I'm doing behind the scenes. Back then I was using Prisma. Now we are gonna actually see how we implement text search in the Supabase as well. So here, I wonder, I'm wondering if I should, can I add text search here on like the company column and not the query? Query or empty string. And let's see if that's just gonna work. Not quite. Did we even name this company table? Or the thing is that this is only gonna match exact case still. I cannot imagine. Maybe not. I did Q again. Okay, so it does work, and it does work regardless of case by default. So that's nice. So should I actually go for Q this time? Let's go for Q. Let's do it Google style today. So it will match Nintendo. I guess there must be like a config somewhere with textures and pseudobase. I do have a link in the description as well. This takes a config object, but I don't think you can pass uppercase or whatever else. But you'll notice that if I actually search for nint, then we don't get any results because this is an exact match. So if we don't want an exact match, we can use the template strings here. So if there is a question, we can encase it. In quotes, and then it should be matching again. The other way around. Just because it's texture, it's trying to find the exact match. Maybe something else is what we actually want. So the equality, can we do like includes? Let's do filters. What a start. Right, plain phrase or web sense. So what does this default to? Textures, of course. I would love to know what how the different types affect things. How does a full match get affected here? Is it exactly the same regardless? I guess so. Let's figure it out on the fly. I guess we can do like a like. We can literally do like. There you go. So text search, I guess we'd save this for the notes, which are like a bigger column. What I'm actually looking for here is like the column name, and then encase this in percentage signs. And hope for the best. And I like for case insensitive, case insensitive like. Right, so we're getting there. Sudmats, nint, cool. All right, we got there. That's what we wanted for this case. And if we don't have this search param, nothing gets matched. So one way to get around this would be to have like maybe a super base query like this. And then we can say if q, we can add the I like here for the company. And then we can await the superbase query. So now everything will match because we won't even be doing an I like for no reason. Yeah, but if we do have a query for lar, we should only see the Larian result. Query for double, we see the double final result. All right, we got there in the end. Not too bad. So, as we've said a few times, it'd be unreasonable to ask of the user to go to the URL here and change their query up there. That's bad UX. The cool thing with doing this server-side though is that if you were to copy and paste this link on WhatsApp, then the person that is opening the link will see the same result if they're logged in with the same privileges as you are. So that's one of the reasons to do things server-side, do things like filtering and sorting and searching server-side, because then if you do it client-side, it is even more extra work to match, I guess, the URL that to have that reflect the client-side state that you have. Essentially, this is what SvelteKit is doing for us. We'll see that soon as well. Like all the magic that we needed to do, like all the hard work that we needed to do to do things like matching the URL parameters, our client-side state, with the URL state. SvelteKit is doing it for us, and that's awesome. So, how can the user interact with this in a nicer way? Let's put an input there. And to start with, I guess under here, you can have a search, new HTML element dropped. It's called search, and we can have a form. And unlike every other form that we have in the app so far, this is going to be a a get form, so we don't need to specify the method. By default, they're get. You'll rarely use get, but it's the one you use for search, so that's good for us. And we want an input here. And I'm going to take the suggestions of Copilot. I don't know what all these crazy classes it added. I'm not sure about, but hey. The name should be Q because it should match whatever we want the search parameter to be. And yeah, let's see. Like we can see everything. If I search for Nintendo, hard to see, and press enter, here you go. It works already. And it does do like the little transition as well, which we may want to change slightly, but we'll see. It works. All right, so let's make this input a bit friendlier. Maybe from the form, the interview form. How do I style the inputs here? And I also want it, of course, inside a label. Just don't forget this. So let's actually just copy everything. But delete this. And slide the input inside the label. And let's have another look for ors. I can also do contain. Maybe not. Contains for arrays. Not true. May need to do compound columns, computed columns with Swabase to search many columns. Let's see if we can do it quickly. Oh, they're doing the same trick here. Conditional changing. But can you do or? Dot or. Here you go. So let's try to transform this into an or, and be able to also hit the role table. Should company.ilike dot the value. We'll find out. Because we want to do the same thing. With a role table. Not quite. I like it's not defined. Oops. I mean to leave this, we still have a chance. Hey, it works. All right, so we can build our filter using the handing method, and then once we figured out what's the actual filter we want to use, we can use an OR and then comma separate all the filters that we'd like. And I guess we can even quickly filter on the nodes table and not do text search there. So if I search for love here, I should also get these nodes filled. But I guess this is, since this is supposed to be bigger sentences, maybe that one should be text search. So instead of doing that, but will that not work? Guess not. Or should be text search here. Let's see. So nodes text search. Guess not. I imagine it's going to be like text search not defined. Oh well, we can still I like this and move on and come back to this later. Now it's hitting all of those. Should we also search for core skills, I guess? Can I do in an array and I like? Anything else for in? I guess not. We'll check it later. Maybe we'll do the different filter and functionality soon. So the thing is, if I do paste this here, the search doesn't start with the search result that is actually applied. And that's because we want to say that the input for this should be from the page store. Yes, we can just put this query, or maybe it's time to extract the search into its own component. So let's cut this. Not use the tilde logo anymore. Search.svelte. For the interview search, and we have this. Let's use this component here. Bring it in. Bring it in harder. Cool. I want the initial value to be what the user has, and we can find this with the page store. I guess we could have like a TypeScript script here and say that the query is from the page store. I'm desperately trying to bring this in automatically, but Svelte is refusing to be helpful here. I think it's this. But the page store does have the URL, which does have the searchParams, which does have the queue. And then I can say that the search value is actually this query. And now it starts, if I copy paste and it's the server-side router that works, it will start from the same thing. And then the client-side router takes over whenever I press enter. Because we have the input type search as well, we get the little cross. And because we are specifying dark mode correctly, we do get a dark or light contrast X in response to this. And escape does clear it as well. So that's cool. It's pretty cool, if you ask me. Let's look at the agenda and see what we should be doing next. Didn't actually do text search. Column I like search with the Superbase. We did this. And then I guess we can move on to the auto searching and worry about the transition a bit later. Because you can see that the results are coming in nicely. Just about see. I guess the scroll position is messing with us, but we will be fixing the scroll position as well. So I'll dazzle you with with transitions and CSS soon, but not quite now. Oh, all right. So I'm typing, I need to press enter because I don't have a submit button, or we could have a little user UX win here and have the search automatically run when the user stops typing, or as the user types even. So that's the first state. As the user types, as I'm typing, I want the search to run. And we can do that with an on chains on input even. So as the user types, we want an on input, not after you've changed whatever is in there, whenever you input anything, not when you focus out. And what we can do here, we can get the current target. The current target, we know it's going to be an input, and we know it's going to be inside the form. And again, the autocomplete is telling me submit, which is incorrect. We don't want to submit. When we're using client-side JavaScript, we want to request submit, because then extra things like SvelteKit's client-side router can hijack this, unlike the .submit. That's the big problem with my previous video, where I was stuck on this and couldn't quite see it. Request submit, we should always request submit here. Also, TypeScript is not quite happy, because it's like, maybe this input element doesn't have a form, because in theory you can have input elements that are not inside forms. Of course, we can see that it is inside a form, but just, you know, to keep this happy, we can say if there is no current target form, and we could even, do that. We can early out if there is no form. But if there is form, we can request for the form to be submitted. So now the moment I press L, I immediately fire up the query, and I immediately get the corresponding results. But of course, like, this is especially annoying with the transitions as well, and like the shakiness up and down. So maybe the next thing is to, I guess not. So the moment I press L, the form submits, I lose the focus and I cannot keep typing, which is extremely annoying. But there is a helper for this. Like, SvelteKit people have thought of everything. So there is a data attribute you can add called keep focus and no scroll as well. So if we use this one, you notice I press A and then I lose the focus from the element. I cannot keep typing anymore, if you can hear my clicky keyboard. But if on the form I add the keep focus, that's SvelteKit keep focus, then on the next screen I'm still focused and I can keep typing. The animation makes it like unworkable, but if you can close your eyes, you can look at your keyboard intensely, then it is gonna work enough. So that's cool. The other thing that's annoying is that I also scroll at the top. So if I'm looking at some results here, it will keep scrolling at the top and then I lose my results, which I also don't want. And there is another attribute here called data SvelteKit no scroll. So if we add this one as well, I can keep my scroll position, and now you can kind of see the sweet flying in we're doing as the results get fewer and fewer. Nice. So that's all good. But now running this request on every letter is a bit much, I would say. So let's debounce it or throttle it, because there is a tricky gotcha here as well. So first of all, we can extract this into a method and say that our handle input is this, and give it here. And we can type this as input handler. How can we type this? Let's check. SvelteKit provides something for us to put there. But I may need to look at my other projects to remember exactly what. Input event, maybe input event. Also the on input. All right, now we know that current target can also be null sometimes. But that's not correct. Not the types I'm looking for. Should we just have a look at the GitHub and promote the GitHub as well? Let's have a look what we got here. SvelteKit dashboard. We've done this. And so I wonder if I have like a component there or not. In the dashboard, in the invoices table, we have a page as well that has a search. It is in the components directory. Sadly, need to hand it down. Lib components search. Here we go. How did I tap this? Event handler, summon element. Maybe next time I will remember. So event handler is the thing we bring in from Svelte. It doesn't want to help me. Bring it in from Svelte elements. There we go. And I guess with Svelte 5, you can also drop like the column will be upgrading to Svelte 5 soon. But in any case, this should be better typed now. It should work exactly the same. And we can get to debouncing this. So let's see. Let's have a timeout. And we can clear the timeout if it exists. But if we have a form, then no form return. And then you can see that the timeout becomes our set timeout form request submit to this. Yeah, so it thinks we're in Node, so this is like timeout. Do I need to bring in the node types, I guess? Sure. So now we can have a constant for clarity as well. Make that be like 300 milliseconds. That's how long it usually takes people to type when they're in the flow, maybe like 400. and use that one here. And now it would feel like this should work. And indeed it does. So I keep typing, it will not submit, but the moment I stop typing for a while, then the method runs. Keep in mind that we're getting a reference to the form early here, before the timeout. If we weren't, we would be in trouble, because the moment the JavaScript thread keeps running, the event gets kind of mutated and the current target is null, and actually the input is now the target, not the current target. So let's just slide. Oop, my keyboard went out of control here. So if I were to do the same thing in the timeout, yes, it still works. So I was lying. How is that possible? Is it like a Svelte 2 thing? Maybe. SvelteKit 2 thing? Oh well, I will keep it like this in any case and not worry about it too much. But yeah, I thought that we'd need to look into the target, not the current target in this case. Cool. So what else do we need to do here? I think as far as debouncing, we're good. And now I guess it may be time for the view transitions touch-up. Because this is very hard to work with. Having every cell calls this thing, the view transition is intense. So how would we resolve this? We want everything to keep sliding in. If we're first, it's our first time going to this page. But if we're already there, we don't want that to happen. Let's see how we'll resolve this. I think we can give like our main style here. I don't know what it's trying to do. We can give a style here. We can say that the language PostGIS says as well. And we can give our main tag a view transition name. Name it interviews. And that solves our transition problem. It gives it the default transition, which is like a crossfade. The width of the columns also change according to how much you have, which may not be like the best looking thing in the world, but hey, it's not too bad. Anyway, but we are losing the nice slide effect when we first go into this route. And we can steal something from SvelteKritic again and have our default animation play, our slide animation play, when this page is the only child. It's the only child, I think that's correct. So let's go to GitHub again, different project, many projects for you. And I wonder where have I used this before? In which route will I have used this? probably maybe even the main route. Let's have a look. Nope. Did I use it anywhere? It's just dreaming. I can always go to the Google reference page that we all know and love and use it there. Guess not. Where would I have used it? Maybe in the project I was looking before. And what did I do there? Let's have a look. Remind ourselves. There is some styling rules that I just want to copy paste instead of trying to write them from scratch, because I know that I will fail to do that. But so I have the search component here. I didn't give it a specific name, but I am using it in the invoices route, as we saw before. Dashboard, invoices, page, svelte. Nothing extra here. Oh, was in the wrong one. Again, nothing extra here. Where did I do this trick? I remember trying this trick. Yeah, but not quite. Should I also promote like my channel further? Because I do have like helpful links on these videos. This is a great video. This is a big difference with edited videos. It's like all value all the time. Because I know what I'm doing. I've planned. And I've edited things thoroughly. Well, now sometimes we do figure out things on the fly. All right, so here, guess that's what we want. It wasn't that hard, but we can go to our CSS and find transitions we've added. Let's copy all of them. We'll figure it out as we go. So the claim that I just need to I just needed to add like the only child, I guess, pseudo selector. Sure, I have remembered this. And instead of body, of course, I want to give it interviews, the view transition name added here. So now we should be back to this working, but also being annoying as I type. But if I also add the only child prefix, it ensures that this happens when it's coming in or going out. But if it's already in, it doesn't play the transition. All right, we got there. Cool. All right, and I guess for a better design, I must do something so the columns have like a specific width, but that's a problem for the future. I think we get the idea for now. I kind of like the line effect. I wouldn't want to remove that. Cool. And if you're wondering why are there like so many, it's because we have the in transition and the exit transition, and then the in transition and exit transition as well when we're going back. So this is the in transition, and this is when you're going back And also this is your live-in transition, and this is when you're going back as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Those are like the 4 different cases we're using, and we're adding the only child here. So if we are already in this route, we don't apply the transition. I guess, should I be adding this to my core app CSS? I'll experiment with that off stream. It's just Git and reason. That's up. All right. So another thing that goes hand in hand with search is pagination. So imagine we had like 200 results, and for example, at some point we will give some admin users service roles, so they'll be able to go to the screen and see everyone's interviews and notes and stuff. Because in real life, you often need to do this. You often need to get into the weeds to help your customers and amend some values for them. And of course, you can do this in the Supabase dashboard, but maybe you have people that you don't want to give Supabase access to. It's expensive as well to have extra seats for it. So that's another reason you may not want to give the Supabase dashboard access to everyone, Supabase Studio. But it's free to add the service roles to some people. So you could give people on your team service role accesses, and then they're able to see every interview that your users have set up. But then they'll be overwhelmed by results, because you'll have like, even if you have 10 users and they have like 10 interview seats, that's 100 results. And that's where a search would be helpful. But also nice UX is having pagination at the bottom. It's nice UX because it's kind of easier for people to see at a glance, oh, these are the core results, they're fit on my screen, and there is this many more pages there. That's why Google does it as well, besides the ad views. But also, it's better UX because it's faster. Instead of rendering 1 million results, then you're only rendering 10, or however many you think is sensible, and you keep the rest off screen. We don't have any images here, but very often your results would have images. So having all of those things in the page would make the page load slower for the user, so bad UX. And that's why pagination would be a good idea, and that's why that's what would be added next. And we'll do it the same way as the query. So let's start server side again. And let's say that P for page is the search params that we want to use for the page that we're in, or can default to the first page. And then we want to somehow pass this to Supabase and say like only take this many results. And that's something that I will again need to look up. Maybe it's just limit, but let's have a look. It is. And offset is just offset, I suppose. It's rained. All right, so that one I didn't expect. There is a limit parameter, but I guess there is no corresponding offset one. So what you're supposed to do is range. And let's say we have another constant here, items per page. And let's say it's 10. Do I have more than 10 here? Like 5 is visible. So let's say, just for fun, let's say that it's like 4. It's gonna be lots of fun. And let's start from, is it 2 parameters? Yeah. So this would start from 0 if we are in page 1. No, that looks correct. So now we get the first 4 results. And the problem here that we've come in the past, what if the user... let's see how the user would move to different pages. I guess let's do it manually again. So no query parameters, we would have a million results, but we're only on the first page. We only get 4. And if we were to do p equals 2, we would get the next 4 results. So that works just fine. But what if we did p minus 1, then things blow up. So we could default anything to like 1. But we should do something, so we should account for this and not have our servers blow up for sure. We do have the Zod validation library here. So what should we do? We can do a search schema. It's a set object. And here, it kind of looks correct, but p should be a number. That we queries. Or string that we queries into a number. That's how it works. Let's look it up. First you say queries. There's also pipes and transforms and stuff. I'm just wondering if a user is being naughty, do we just ignore their input or do we send them into a different page? I'm not sure. Well, let's have a look here. Guess what I really want to do is like a different thing as well. So let's query the number in this case. That's already queried. And I could do that if p is less than 1, then we can redirect. We could 404 as well, but just redirect. Prio 3 is the other. We have the URL here. So let's redirect them there. What happens? Will that work? Nope. But why not? Do I need to throw the redirect? Do I return the redirect? I think in SvelteKit 2 you just call the redirect and you move on with your life. Let's double check. So sure, that should work, and redirect can take string or URL. Should never get to here, but we should get to here. I get maybe p is like not a number in this case, the way I've written this. I guess we must be. We cannot do this. Okay. So let's redirect URL, new URL, URL. Then the redirect URL. And that's where we want to set the p parameter. Because we're not allowed to mutate the existing URL we came from. That would be naughty. Alright, and then we're covered. If someone is trying to be naughty here, we actually redirect them to p1. And even if they've searched for something, even if they've searched, I say, we should be keeping the search. So if we do -2, it still works. Cool. And the other problem we have here, like, do we lose the page if we just add this? The answer is yes. So that's surprising. And should we be using I guess you always want to go to the first page of results when you start searching. That's fine. We could be doing like some things like a hidden input with like the current page in the form, but you don't need to do that. When you're searching, you probably want the first result. So cool. Would I use the search schema? Maybe. Parse this. Let's see, the query is this, page is this. use the page here, and use the page here. Let's be one here in this level. I think so. All right, so should work the same now. Get the results, that's fine, and we can manually say that the page is like page 2 or whatever. Maybe not. So this should be nullable, not optional, like a confusing thing with Zod. And now we should be good to go. Default 1. It's not. So I want to transform it here, and so it must have something. Could make this easier. But I don't want to make it too complicated. Then it's like too late. Already too complicated. Let's do this. Yeah. So now we don't add the parameter, can still do p equals 2, and that's fine. Is it? It's way too many results. So for the first page, it's correct, but I think Copilot did something funky for us. Is it looping over? Is it because we don't have an order by? All right, let's have a look at this again. So this needs to be 0 to start with, which is fair enough. If it's the first page, it should be 0. If it's the second page, it should be starting from 4 because we get 0, 1, 2, 3 in the first page. Second page should be 4, 5, 6, 7. Is this going to be 4, 5, 6, 6, 7? So this is going to be times 4 minus 1, 7. So that looks correct. So the question is, why is it flipping out when we get to this? Oh, it didn't. Forgot the operation order thing. How could you? So yeah, this is the problem with Copilot, where it will often do something that looks correct but have like a small error, and then it's hard to debug. So because of the order of operations, of course, multiplication happens first, and then it was doing the subtraction. So you need these to be in parentheses. Maybe check the tape, maybe I remove the parentheses. But yeah, instead of me thinking about it, it was mostly the GitHub Copilot that I blindly auto completed. And in this case, it did cost us time and some frustration. But if the user is willing to add the page that they want here in the URL, it works. Now let's make it so it will work with nice UI, with an actual pagination component, and we'll do this with Melt UI. There we go. So we'll have a link to this too. This is what we want. I like that it has even the results here. So we can create a pagination component for us. To put probably here. It feels like we'll make it like table agnostic, so we can actually call this, put this in a component folder and call it pagination. And then if I make the server crash, the autocomplete will help me, but not before that, which is kind of funny. So yeah, here we have it. And what we want is all of this stuff. And I like the use of the nav component as well. A rare use of the nav component. So let's just paste this in here and see what happens. And we need to export some variables. We need to be told total we need to be told the page, and I guess we won't need these overrides. And both of these are going to be numbers. Let's call this. We can sort and assign this. And it's going to break. But if we were to give it like total is like 12 and per page is 4. we'll see that we have like these buttons that are gonna work, like the previous not gonna work, it's disabled. But if I click next, I should get to the next page. Oof, the component thinks I'm going to the next page, but it shouldn't be. I guess it's made to work with client-side filtering and stuff, but we're not going to do any client-side magic here. All we want are these to be refs. We don't want to use the pref button and stuff. Do they have a... they're just going to be anchors. We'll just use this to, I guess, categorize, like just to show the UI, like the ranges. If you are doing the sorting and stuff, the pagination client side only, if you get all the results, this would be handy, but we're not going to be doing it like that. So, and it has the ellipses as well. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have anything else. And the page item, how does that look? It doesn't really tell me. I guess the value is going to be like 1 to 3. Sure. So, does it know the current page? Bring your own store, it says. Interesting. So default page, I guess this is the one we should be on. That's the idea. And I guess this is using something to make the button disabled. But I just want to use an anchor here. So it would be handy to have something to pass to the button. Are there any other handlers? Can I just put this in the anchor? I don't think so. Hello Bede, how are you doing? How's this Windows SV Vercel app? I don't know what you mean by Windows SV. So maybe please elaborate, and I'd love to answer. So on page change, would it just be easier should we bring the current page? Not sure. Oh, awesome, it's your own project. Okay, where can I see it? So be there in this, and you're trying to build a project with Svelte. And I love using Svelte as well. I love building apps with Svelte as well. And I'm very happy to see that so do you. This is super fun. So my thinking here is, if I don't use the button like helpers here, is there value in the library? Is this like just overcomplicating things and I should just use my own component? Maybe. I guess it does this helper like what's the range start and the range end. And it does do the ellipsis stuff, so that's quite handy. Okay, so we will use it. We just need to figure out if the prev button should be active or not by ourselves, but it's still less work. So I'm also thinking we should keep the query param. So what should this be? What's the href for the previous page? Let's do the next page first, because that's the easiest one to show, I suppose. So, next page, we want this to be an href. Where do we want this to be? Create a helper method. We are going to use page store as well. Bring in the page store, which we've used before. Did I use it here? No, in the search. Let's bring it in. Have the page store. So now we can use the URL from here, and we can set the search param for P for page. Won't that still work? I think so. And then we return the URL. Right, and get page URL for the next page would be current page +1, surely. I guess I need to return this to string. Complain here, and I do want string here. All right. So let's click next and see if we go to page 2. We tried to go somewhere. So p equals not a number. Did we remove something here? So count and per page. Is that not what we called things? Count per page and current page, of course, we want. And current page, that one we can derive. Actually. Current page is from the page store, the URL. Get the p parameter or 1. Or 1. All right, now everybody's happy. And we do indeed go to the next page. Cool. And we should do the same thing for the previous one. Let's just copy everything. And do the same for these guys. So if we don't need to do the ellipsis thing because we have too many pages, we can just use the page value, this page URL, display it here. So that should mostly work. Let me open it on the big screen. So we're on page 3, on page 2, and we are on page 1. We're going to the same page twice. That's quite suspect. And previous and next also works. Is the problem that what's the problem actually? This count sounds suspect. So suddenly range start and range end doesn't work, and I wonder why. When this is 1, this just works. But when this is the current page, and this flips out. So let's have a look at the docs. So default page, what does that do? The default page number. That means nothing. Is it the current page? How does it know what is the current page? So when we are on the first page, does this like kind of work? No, it still doesn't work. All right, so current page must be something funky. Parts P or 1. What would be the problem? Should be a number. undefined. How? How can this be true? Page URL searchParams. It claims that this is undefined. How can this be? Because it is defined later, right? Don't quite get it. Does this not rerun? But even here, current page says it's undefined. Just name it like anything else. Just in case there's like a naming conflict, which there isn't. It'd be silly. I don't know why I even thought of this. Yeah, here it makes sense. Well, not really, because this would be run into that. What else could I be looking at? Subscribe to the page store. Is it the magic dollar thing from Svelte 4 that is confusing matters for whatever reason? In the console log, when we do make it to the browser, this works. This around the server too, like every time. Sometimes it runs on the server. How? Should I make the server say pass all these things? Let's do it. Say we have a pagination object that has the count. Which I don't know what it's gonna be. Current page. For sure. And that's it. Items per page. So let's return these three things. Yeah, I'm gonna call this total count too. And I am gonna expect current base. And therefore, get page URL, that should be the same. Sure. But now this component total count should be data definition total count count. Did I not rename this? Total. So that's one of the SvelteKit pros, this automatic typing, magic typing. I love it. All right, so we're giving these three parameters, so it should be happy. And indeed, it is able to do something. What else do we want to do here? A default page is this. This is the total count. On the first page is correct, but then if we're on the second page to show something else. But I guess it doesn't because we've hard coded this. Oh, we haven't. So this should update for sure, but we'll see. Let's stop faking the total count. Can I get all the results here? Let's see. Can I also get a count? So I can add the range later here because I want to do a count. Is that the real thing? Guess not. Estimated. It's not what we want. Does this return a count? Oh, Supabase magic. But it's not the total count, right? Let's return it here and see if it's actually gonna be like 4. Because I suspect just console log it. Null. That one I didn't suspect. Is the modifier? So you need to provide an option on the select. And why does it want head? If you want to return it simultaneously, what does that mean? Nothing on counts. Is it really the Stack Overflow issue that I need to get into? That's a bit much. Anyway. So the count is 9. Interesting. So it does return the total count. So that's great. So yeah, let's just call it count. And call it count here too. And pass it as count in the UI too. And just for extra clarity, use this count. So when it's the server-side router, it works. But when it's not, I guess that's when we have the problem. That the page store is not like updated, and we may need to bring our own page. I'm trying to work against how this is supposed to work. Maybe. Any other examples here? Still. So yeah, when you do it client side, it's easy. If I pass this the melt stuff in the anchor, will it work? Guess not. It wants this to be. Oh, maybe it's fine. So I should get back the next button, for example. And will it be doing the cool stuff here? So we're on the second page. If I press this, yeah, we made it. All right. Cool. We're seeing errors because this should be disabled. now that we don't have any others. Alright, so I don't know if I'm hacking this or not, but we are getting results. Unintended. All right, now we're cooking. Thanks for your emotional support in the comments. Now you believe in me. So the previous and next buttons should be disabled when we're at the last page, right? So let's think. Let's think harder. Guess the elements shouldn't even be an anchor at that point. It's always awesome when things work. But let's style things first a bit more nicely. The example, we still have no styles at all. Did I steal this as a boring person? Oh no. Alright, let's do better. Oh, already. Like we're getting the alignment. We're cooking. Maybe on this one we want nothing. And here things are quite intense. Why is this a grid? That's a bit nuts. Right. So transition all. It looks a bit better, not like amazing better. That's something. And should I say like button classes? All right, now it's looking like a real thing. And I think I will keep the no scroll. Would that work? Let's see. Scroll. Still scroll? Not sure. First page. It's still scrolling. Not as much. I guess, it's only scrolling because we have like different amount of results, I think. Or can I only add this in forms? We'll find out. All right. It only scrolls when the table gets a significantly different height, I think. And I guess this needs a +1, right? So first page we see 1 to end, so 1 to 4. Then we see 5 to 8, and then we see 9. Cool. And yeah, we could add like a carré in the previous button. The next button too. And all of this, maybe we can make its text base like a bit smaller. Where button this should be. All right, I think we've gotten somewhere. The brightness filter should be 150. Cool. Let's go to big screen. Does look like the no scroll does nothing. And I still need to fix the previous button. It should be disabled. When? So let's just remove it. So if we're more than the first page, then show it. So don't show it now, and then it appears. Not too bad. The no scroll does nothing, so we should fix this somehow. SvelteKit no scroll for anchors. Yeah, it does claim that this should do it, but hey. Disabling it would be the perfect thing to do if it was a button, but you cannot disable a link in an easy way, unfortunately. So if this were a button, we would be able to say like disabled is current page is less than 1 without doing the if here, but we cannot disable anchors. And semantically, this should be anchors. I guess the pagination library as well has this to be buttons. It's a good idea, and it's good to bring it up, because very often I do things and I do not explain why I do them. But that's the reason. It's hard to disable anchors. It's semantically incorrect to have a disable anchor as well. With buttons, disabling it is what we do want to do. But then, like using a button for navigation, which is what we're doing here, is a bit semantically incorrect as well. So it's a pick your poison situation. But I think that's not too bad. So we should just do a similar thing for the next button. And when do we know that there are more results? I guess. Current page is less than page's length. Not true. So something related to the count. Modulo 0 or 0. That's also incorrect. The count divided by the items per page. Yeah. That could be it. Maybe not. So current page, what's our current range? Oh, we're not on the last page, so maybe that was correct. Yeah, right, we got it. Yeah, and maybe we can even do like a few other nice calculations here. Like, say that the first item is this. Say that the last item is this. Maybe we can have a little look here and say if first item equals the last item, then do something else, if also what we were showing all the time. But if it is the same, you can just say showing item 9. And we can use the same thing, I guess. A similar thing. So if the last item is less than the total count, that's also when we we do have a next page. All right, the scrolling is messing with me, but it's not too bad. I don't think it's the view transition that is doing it. I think it's like the scrolling, literally. Yeah, it does scroll back up, so there must be a bug somewhere. That's some stroke tags for the fun of it. All right, looks a bit better. Maybe the table deserves a bit of padding too. Slightly more padding. Good. So we've safeguarded this. It is looking fine. It's looking good. This still works. Well, what's this about? So showing items 1 out of 4 out of 1. Wait a minute. So that's unfortunate. It must be that we're not bringing in our own store, unfortunately. So that's something to debug for sure. But is this something that I want to debug now? Maybe. Think we'll need to move on. So the problem is that like search does work, like we see the item here. This works, but the pagination here is not quite updated. And at this point, so that does not be using this library at all. That's the idea, I guess, of the first item and the last item. What else is it giving me? Not sure. Because the range I can figure out. Yeah, I think we'll just not use it in the end. So let's see. So the first item, instead of calculating the range start and stuff, we can just say that it's current page we did this on the backend, didn't we? I'm having the feeling of deja vu. And so what is the range? It's here. So this is this, and the items per page is like this parameter, and the current page, we call it here. So let's see if that would make it work the same. then the end item should be this. But it is 0 indexed, so that may be a bit different. So let's see what we get now. 9 out of 9. So yeah, that's not correct because that's 0 indexed. But if we add 1, should be good to go. Cool. One out of 4, 5 out of 8, 9 out of 9. Why is this not quite updated? Let's remove this melt stuff as well. Arrange end. Correct. Yeah, so that's not quite correct either. So no more 0 indexing this. This should be correct. 1, 2, 3, but this should be the same now. This should be capped, of course. So we can math min this with the count. All right, we got there. Cool. So no need for the multi-UI pagination there. But we still have this previous button. It does nothing. And we have this next button. It does nothing. And we can remove this too. But we still want to know how to do this for each, I guess. And the pages, I guess that's like a range. We won't be doing the ellipse trick, we'll just be showing all the... That's the one thing that this library is doing that is quite cool. That we could keep, but I won't bother for it for now. Here. I can do my classic JavaScript range thing. But it's refusing to expand it. Expand it here. I have a little macro for arrange function here, but anyway, I think it's gonna be, what is it gonna be? It's this. So I want the array to have a length, I suppose, of total pages. Do a little count here. We can even use the total pages somewhere else. We'll figure it out. Currently, This will never happen with the dots. So every time we want this, and we want this to be index +1 for the current page. It also is adding the data selected classes, which was also nice. Oh well. We can manually add it. So yeah, we don't need this anymore. No melt UI. And did this fix our problems? Yeah, our pagination problems. Okay, so when we search, it still paginates correctly, which it didn't right before. What we need is to steal this idea of like cool classes. And all we need is a data attribute, I suppose. So for these guys, we'll give it a data selected. Not here. For these guys, we'll give it a data selected. The current page is the index +1. And it seems like it works. Or not, they're all selected. So how should I actually do this? Question mark and give it true, or else give it like undefined, so the attribute will not be there. Okay, we got it. So we do get the brightness when they are selected. So that's all nice and dandy. And do we have like a disabled? Yeah, but let's make it like data disabled again. Data attribute. And yeah, I guess one does not seeing this, but we could do data disabled, I guess. But then clicking it would actually work, unless we disable pointer events. All right, so maybe that's. Nah, I don't like it. I'll just not show it. Okay, cool. So we didn't use melt UI in the end. But we definitely used it for inspiration, how we should go about this. There are no results for this page and it blows up. So why did this blow up? How did we manage to get to this page? Building our own stuff is cool. All right, so let's recap. Search works perfectly. Pressing this doesn't work perfectly. So if I'm on Larian and I click this again, it loses my search, which is not what we want. And I would think that because we set this, like it would keep the other parameter, surely. So if we inspect this, the href has the question. All right. But why did we lose it? So href is P1, P2, P3, and P2 again. It doesn't make sense. Ah, no, it does make sense. Yeah. So first page, next should get you to P2. So that's fair enough. But if we have search for Larian, this one should also be re-rendered. Is it why this library was doing like something like this as a hint of when this should be re-rendered? Maybe. Yeah, why doesn't this get updated? Should I be saying that this gets recalculated? Maybe. So if I say that page URL is this, and you look at the page URL searchParams, or not, unsure. Let me think about this problem again. So I have this helper method that takes this and also this. So maybe current URL, like let's have this be more obviously here. And use the current URL here. And wherever I call this, so these 3 times, I can give it the page URL. And then maybe SvelteKit will know that it needs to repaint this. That's my hope. Yeah, so that worked. Only 3, unfortunate. All right, so now it keeps the query parameter. So that's weird, but I guess that's what we had to do, because I had defined this function. SvelteKit didn't know when to rerun this method where I was setting the href, and it didn't know that it should rerun it every time the current URL changes, so it kept not adding the search parameter that we had here. But now that we're actually calling this method with this dynamic value, reactive value, SvelteKit knows to change it as this value changes as we navigate through the app. All right. Cool. So that's finally done. And some cache control, the way I've seen this, I've shown this before, is if we look at the netcore requests, you'll notice that we do these fetches that in production, they take a little bit of time. Like 39 milliseconds, which is not that many. But when you hover or when you tap, you do them every time. So you click on the results, then you get them again. And it's quite a bit. And if these are expensive operations, you should set some headers, some cast headers for your app, even if it's like, 5 seconds or 30 seconds, it would help. So let's do that. So back to our server, we want to bring in the set headers magic method that our load method has or gets given. And maybe at the end, I can say set headers, and this is going to be a private cast with a max age of something. And I do believe I do have a constants file. And we can do like 5 seconds or something. In seconds, is that like too silly? Probably. But you can have like the one file with your common headers. And we want to set this as a cast control header. And we can even go to MDN and take some inspiration from their examples. So private cast, let's see an example they have there. This just max age equals something. So at least now, like 5 seconds is too little. But some of these we will be getting from the disk cache. So they'll be instant instead of taking a few milliseconds, and most importantly, instead of hitting our database all the time. Even 5 seconds can make a difference, but that's probably too little. So let's say 15. 10. Hello Marcel, nice to see you in the chat once again. But yeah, I would say that you can't go wrong with like at least a 5 second cast. Because even if you're in trouble and you have like some bug, then 5 seconds is small enough that you just tell them just refresh, and then it just works for them again. While still, even 10 seconds I think is safe. Like when things don't work, you just tell them to refresh and it's fine. You're not stuck until you actually get to resolving the root cause and the bug. But still, it can help you from getting hammered. Or hammering your server. It doesn't help with stringing, if that's what you were thinking. Cool. So, talked about cache control. Here, will we use MeltUI for this? The MeltUI is super cool, but I do find that a lot of the things that it has, it just don't let use in the end. As a reminder, we did use the dialogue last episode, and then I stopped using it as well off screen. And we must be using something from MeltUI already. So we tried to use it for Pagination, but we ended up doing our own solution in the end. What are we using MeltUI for? There is at least one cool thing that I use often. And we may be using it for the toggles as well, that we'll do later. Like if we want to filter by status, like this. But I guess I can just search. For the tags, of course. So I didn't saw this feature, we did it off screen. So let's create one more. If I manage to find the app here. So these chips are MeltUI. And that's also pretty cool. You can select them, you can delete them with a keyboard. It's nice. But it doesn't automatically turn them into chips on commands, which you have to do manually, I guess, to listen for the keyboard input. But hey, so yeah, these chips are something new we've added, even though I don't show them here on the core skills. We do use them. I do use MeltUI for these. Again, like something you can build yourself, like always, but I do like the keyboard navigation aspect of this. That can happen if you use the arrow keys, you can do the backstroke. It does save you time to use this from a library that people are using. So it has a higher chance it will work correctly than the thing you hastily try to build yourself. Cool. So we did this. Let's see if we can add a date picker, given we're only 2.5 hours in the stream, so we can keep going. We can keep going. And the MeltUI date picker, what do we have here? Looks like this. Opens up this. You select the date, and that's it. They also have a date range, which is like Airbnb style, the thing it selects, but a bit more obvious what you're getting into. Ooh, even works backwards. Nice. But this is the one we want to use. Maybe I'll throw in a comment. Let's check for error and console logs. Looks fine. So what did we do? And maybe first understand how you can work with dates. You can read about here. They do recommend like this library, which we will bring in. I guess maybe that's the first thing we're gonna do. Let's bring in this library. Oof, new PNPM that's dropped. And I guess we can add like a created at field here. Because we do know this is never null, surely. Is it null then? I guess so. So that's one way to do it. And I'm saying that maybe we can add like a created at field, which we should be getting already, given we're doing like a select star here. So in our table, create that. Have nothing. And after the nodes, or after this, or after this, like I'm looking for like the most normal one I could think of and couldn't find it. 8 row should have a created at. Not a real thing. Guess not. It's now. Do we actually get it? One way to find out. So after the nodes, it's this. We do get it. All right, so that's when we inserted it into the database, and that's actually where we are doing the sorting as well. So let's see if we can use this library to format it nicely. But maybe we don't even need that library for this. We can use like vanilla JavaScript for this. Datetime format. So here, let's create one. And we'll see if we'll give it like some options later. But for now, all right, so that should be localized to my area, since we don't give any other parameters. And I think it looks fine. We can change the date style, I suppose. Let's see what are our options here. Oh, it's a second parameter, of course. So Marcel asks, what's my solution when it comes to triggering a server-side reload after a filter gets used? OBS is not showing exactly what you're saying here. So now it's just a form being triggered. So the search input is actually in a form, in a search element, but that doesn't matter. And it's a regular get form. So when I put something in, I automatically trigger it as well on a timeout, the bounce timeout. But if you're pressing enter as well, this form will get submitted. And SvelteKit knows that whenever a form gets submitted in the page, by default, I guess, it will rerun all the load methods for that route. So that's how you get the reload. SvelteKit does it for you if it sees a form being submitted in this page. If you are enhancing the form, then you need to make sure that you apply action or you do the default thing that SvelteKit does as well. But yeah, if we have time, we'll do more. We'll have like the little toggles here for like more explicit filtering. We'll have the various interviews have states like open, offered, declined. And we'll try to make this inside the form as well. So we'll reestablish our learnings at that point. So currently you build a new URL and call goto. And yeah, I'd say that's not the right way to do it. Like if it works, it works. But the default example for SvelteKit in this subject is just a form. So if you're doing search, definitely do it like that, given they think that this is like the default case for this. For other sort of filtering, I'd say forms. I'd say SvelteKit really wants you to use forms as much as possible, because then even if JavaScript is not running, then it will just work. But yeah, I think the more forms, the better as well. And yeah, behind the scenes, goto is what SvelteKit is doing. But if they can do it for us, why should we do it ourselves? All right, so what I was trying to experiment with, the long or short formatting. Which should be the second parameter here. State style. We'll try it here as well. Let's see if it works. All right. Full long. I wish they had like an exhaustive list here, but thankfully TypeScript, the IDE is doing it. Yeah, sounds like a plan. So yeah, medium. I'd say let's do medium length for these, and maybe should we have like a file for all our formatters? Oh, have a date format here. It's a different type of date format. So I'll keep it for this table. It's like specific to this table, I suppose. But I want it to look like this. You cannot edit this. But what I was hoping is to have a next session at or something. I love seeing the chat interactions for sure. I do think Svelte and SvelteKit have an amazing community, one of the most amazing ones and helpful ones. Would be like important date. Could be in the future or not. So let's have a this section one. So for now, I will use the created ad because I don't have a latest session column. So we may need to migrate this. So let's see. Let's first say self-hosted Bitbucket. It's been a while since I had to use Bitbucket, but I also had to use it at work once upon a time, many years ago. I've also used the Subversion as well, but times have changed, and it's like if it's a new company, they will always use GitHub now. So let's introduce this column if we have it, pass it here, or else do our little dance. Let's make sure to not eat in parentheses and take this out from the object. Here, school. So not next session, I want latest session out. And we want a migration. So they ask warp. Not at all. Oh wow. Yeah, that well, one of the companies I worked for, that was the reason. Like the more security, the less tools you can add. I have worked with someone that needed explicit clearance for every npm package that they were allowed to use in the code base, which is so hard to work with nowadays. Even back then it was hard to do without anything in npm, but I guess they were manually like copy pasting the source code to make do. Today in most sectors it's quite lax, but there are so many that you still need to go through rigorous clearances, which I'm sure you know better you know better than I at this point. My knowledge of this is surely out of date. All right, so I want to create a new migration, and I think it's like migration new or something, but thankfully the move fast and break things movement has led to a lot of the sectors being more fast and loose with what you can use. There are like drawbacks on this approach as well, but mostly I do think the more lax we are with the tools we can use, we are allowed to use, the better results you get. But of course, like I used to work for Babylon Health, for example, so there are some cases where if someone is looking for a doctor's opinion on something and you get it wrong 1 out of 100, or there is a malicious party there, that's actually serious. But if you're building like an interview helper, yeah, it's bad if if your app does something wrong, or maybe I will stop talking about this. Maybe I'll get myself in trouble. Also, I can hear my doggy being fed by my lovely wife in the other room, which is extra distractions. Base CLI new migration. Let's do it. We can do it. It says it's migration new, not DB new. This is what I thought it was. So npx, where's migration new? Add next latest session at so all we want here is to add one little table, one little column to our table. Yes, I do. I have a Australian copper dog who is now 1 year old. It falls in the Labradoodle category, and sometimes it does crash the stream. She comes to me, I give her a hug, she calms down, and I can keep going. And my lovely dog is being fed by my lovely wife. So they're both involved right outside this room. Oh, nice, golden retrievers. Summer, my dog, loves playing with golden retrievers as well. They're very noble dogs. Some of the golden retrievers don't give her much attention because she's about half the size, but some of them are like super playful with her. So let's take inspiration from this and say, yeah, summer has helped me take more breaks for sure. She will sometimes come and request some hugs, whoop me on the calf, bring her toys. And it's all super cute. So all I need is to say that. And for me, originally I'm from Greece, from an island in Greece called Paros. So let's add the latest session add timestamp column, which by default will be null. Anything else we need to do here? We don't want to default it to anything. The user needs to set it. It can't be null. Is it timestamp with time zone? Sure. All right, let's see if we can run this. I can imagine we didn't run migration up last time, but hey. Did I not see this? to resolve this. In the hidden schema, I guess they must have like a migration schema here. Did I not write the other one? Guess I didn't. Interesting. I think I mixed doing things in the UI and not doing things in the UI. So that's how we got here, I suppose. And maybe we'll get to parity again if I delete this and then try to do the migration up and see what happens. All right. Better. Okay, added, let the session at works, and we can run the generate script to get our new schema with the new column. And now, if I manually get in here, another timestamp for like 21st of 1st, 2024. Doesn't really want to add this. Oh, they have a date picker as well. Cool. Yeah, let's say that's the time I want. It added it eventually. So the Aubergine one was the one they liked. Is it the last one? This one. All right, was actually the first one. And we can see the latest session here, added, cool. So that's all well and dandy. And it's nice that our databases have UIs now and calendar pickers, but how about we add a calendar picker on our app? And I guess in my interview form, what I want is the date picker. How would that work? Oh, so many things. Right, so we need the date field, the calendar, and the popover for all of those things. It's fair enough. But maybe a bit much for now. Does look nice, especially this one though. We can add the default value as this. Great. Does it put it inside an input? Guess we can use the value in a hidden input if needed. So yeah, all we need is this. Oh my god, it's a million pointer event. Yeah, I think I would do this offline. But can I sort here? Yeah. Sort by created event. Let's do this one. And I'm doing all of this so we'll start being able to sort by different columns. So that's what we're trying to do at this point. Sort. So initially we sort by created at. As you can see here, ascending. And we'll keep doing it using SearchParams. How do we do it this time? So the same trick again, but we want like order by. Then it can be like created at or minus created at. That could be funny. Could also be like a comma for ascending or descending. Let's see what our server file wants or does. We can just pass a flag for ascending, it looks like. So ascending false. Makes it be the other way around. So we could capture like a boolean, I guess. So we could be looking for order by. And for ascending, which would be queries boolean. Let's see if that would work. Appears the answer is no, but we'll find out. So let's get the ascending here. Let's get the order by. Looks like we're fine. And maybe we can make this an enum. So I guess they want it like this. By options is going to be created at and next Sesonet. Update the Sesonet. Those two. And this one is going to be an enum of the ordered by options, nullable and default to created at, or I guess maybe the first one that we have here. Why not? All right, still working. Order by is this. So we can extract here. But it thinks it's null. Won't it default to something? Guess the answer is no. Optional. Yeah, that's not what I want to get. Let's do nullable again. Actually, no, let's not do that. But we can default here. This or this. And similarly, this can be this or this. We can even call this ascending. Seems like it kind of works. And we can extract the ascending as well. And actually pass it here. All right, did this work? So we are in ascending true mode. But let's remove everything else. Now we're in ascending true mode. And if we do as false, 4. That was unexpected. Was so unexpected. Once again, my keyboard stopped working. Surprise. So wait a minute. This works. Said that this is not nullable. Say that this is false true. The moment I do equals ascending equals false. Oh. So yeah, I don't know what that was about. Dates go up 9-10 January. Which is the default, and if it's false, dates go down. Not yet. How come? Let's console log this. Setting true, great. But this is ASC false. So what's that about? How is dot queries in Boolean? So parse false. What? Parse false is true. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And parse null is false. Okay, so maybe it should be after 0. I guess not. Because we default to this. Can I check has? Okay, so if it has ascending, use it. Or else it's true. Still not. But how? Boolean question is easy. Don't quite get it. All right, so it's 0. But it's the string 0. It's the string 0. Oh boy. At this point, is Zot helping me? Maybe I need to do like a transform here or something. Yeah, so. What's your project? Let me know and I'll click through, paste the link. Oh no. What's the name of the project? Is it Googleable? GitHubable? You can also join the Discord, and I have a showcase channel as well if you want to. Is there? And that one. Let's see. How is GitHub doing for search? They're also doing Q. Is that it? Feels unlikely. Not too many, but I'm not gonna go through all of them. Try the Discord and I'll check it out. I promise. So let's say that this is a string that I want to transform, and then I can say return whether it's not explicitly false. So that feels kind of correct. And then just return this, I guess. Oh, we did it. All right. So now can order by created and something else. Yeah, check the description. Check the video description, and I have 2 links on the Discord, which is getting more and more active, and I love it. And as I said, showcase channel, feel free to paste your project there, or just post in general, you know, say hi and a little bit about yourself. So, can we also order by things? So can we order by latest session at? The answer is maybe. Let's remove the ascending false. Yeah. So looks like we got there. The ones that don't have a date are not first, unfortunately, which is interesting to say the least. Where should nullable values be? It shouldn't be first, but hey, that's by the by. Let's try to make it so we can actually order without messing with the URL params again. And this is also interesting, Marcel, because how would we do even this with forms? I guess. So let's see. Let's think. We could be returning the order by from the server as well. So should we return this? Sure. It's a sorting thing, order by and ascending. And then say that it's also maybe null. And we can export let sorting and say that it does have order by, it's a string, and it has an ascending boolean. And where we use the table, I can say that sorting is data sorting. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to show a little array here on created at in the table. Delete everything. Yes, created at. Say if maybe we can have like 2 spans. My hands are getting super cold, so as usual I'm starting to do more spelling mistakes, keyboard mistakes. So if sorting order by this, yeah. Nice. Let's take it out actually. Spelled coder. A little quick break. Putting this a GitHub up. It was a bit intense. All right, here we go. Windows. You made Windows? That's amazing. Nice. Deployed as well to Vercel, as you said. So that's cool. Oh, but I cannot go there. Need team access. By default, Vercel has changed, so you require access to see the deployment previews, which I think is very weird, to be honest. So yeah, I'll have a look after the stream as well. Cool. Slide it and get in there. All right, here. So if the order by is created at, I want to say, I want to have like a array. I can link. Ah, this one. Cool. Oh, nice. It looks very slick. Clicking all the buttons. The butter indicator, does that that's fake, right? Oh, 100%, but it still looks empty. It's like to stress people out. It's like, oh, I thought I was full. I thought I was started, and you see like the 2 out of 3. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, but you do have the correct icon here. Nice. Oh, it looks very slick. Nice. I think I said nice like a million times. But it's beautiful. What can I say? All the browsers. Cool. And I mostly use Macs and have been using Macs for a while, so I can only imagine this is what Windows looks like nowadays. Needs a trash bin. I know that you can get rid of the recycle bin. So that's the one thing that I'm sure is different. It looks great. Love it. I like the favicon as well with the material style shadow. Sweet. Ooh, you can drag and drop all of these. You say you can create a text file? So does it remember where it's drag and dropped? No. I like how it works. Nice. And I can create a chainsaw background. I am a Goku fan as well. Nice. All right. Oh, wow. So did you use Melt UI for all this context stuff? Popovers and handles? Looks nice. Looks very nice. Didn't quite work. So it opens the notepad, but it doesn't add something on the screen. Love it. Cool. You should do the UI for my projects, to be honest. Mine end up being like quite colorful. I'm not sure if it's like too colorful. Yours looks modern, slick. All right. What was it doing here? I created that. All right, it has the carré. Great. Control M to save the file. All right, the last thing to do. I just got trolled. Because I pressed the wrong button, of course. My bad. Will I ever find this Chrome again? Well. All right. Nice. Can I rename? Enter to open. Sweet. Shadokan, Svelte, SADCN. Yeah, the same brilliant person who worked on SADCN Svelte went on to do Melt UI, which is still maintained. Cool. All right, so we have this carré. And I guess I want another if here. Of course, that's how it goes, step by step. I'm doing the same thing with this app. The more you work on it, the more things will be there. So I want an arrow here to show whether we are like going up or down, and I will steal some carrés from somewhere. Maybe it should be the same carré, to be honest. That I can transform. Yeah, maybe that will do for now, actually. Maybe that's gonna work. If that's a real class, if that's a real Tailwind class, we'll find out. But why am I doing all of this? I want to put this in a form, yet another form. See how that would work. love this to be one line, but that's fine. And does this do anything? Yeah, it does. It's doing kind of what I wanted. So what remains is for all of this to be a button. And for this to have hidden inputs, I guess. Values or order by and ascending. The value for that will be if it's currently ascending, then the value will be false, or else it will be true. And let's see what happens if we click. Does anything happen? This should be this. All right, it worked. And let's prove it because it was so hard to see. A little screen. Thank you for sharing. Keep doing it. So you can more clearly see now that this works. So you can check this part, created that. Maybe the array should be the other way around, actually. Or it is correct, I'm not sure. Like the dates keep going up. Is that descending? So this is ascending, so I guess it should be the other way around. And I'll bring in a better array later, but for now that's pretty good. Now the question is, does it remember all other parameters? And the answer is no. So it forgets our search parameter. And unlike the case of the search results, searched in clear in pagination, we'd want to keep the order and stuff. So maybe we need to amend the search for this, but first let's add another hidden input here for query. And let's get it from the page store again. Once again, My editor refuses to bring in. Oh well. Oh, there you go. Copilot got there. And I guess since we changed the order, we can ignore the page. So let's see now if we have the L here. If we have the L here and we press this, those get ordered the other way around. Is that true? Not really. Oh, it has a million results still. Okay. Yeah, so it works. I wish this fit on the screen, so let's make it a bit smaller. So you can see how it flips around nicely as we resort. Two places in the middle, the other two keep changing. Pretty pleasing, isn't it? So it remembers our search, but our searching will make us forget our ordering. And did our ordering, what was I saying? Yeah, so our search thingy needs some hidden inputs as well. Now we want our search input to have hidden inputs for the order, so we'll remember the order, and for whether we're ascending or not. And we don't need to use the page params, I guess. Do we have the page store here already? Yeah, we do. So we can use it actually. So this one. So we get the order by. And get the ascending or not. And now I'm hoping that it will remember that we want the descending order as we keep searching. And indeed it does, thanks to the hidden inputs. There we go. And I'll have a look at this data tables one, but off screen for sure. It does look like something that will be doing things client side, so immediately not too thrilled. But we'll see. I guess it does the client side much like Tanstack table. So this one, Tanstack table, is also a very well used one, and especially the React table from the same ecosystem, from the same person. Tanner, I think. Tanstack is definitely has something to do with their name. It is doing stuff. Like the one you shared. Let's open this. Yeah. Things like sorting. Oh, we have an emoji that we can use. Should have thought of this. But this is client-side. We're doing server-side today and forever, because I do think it's simpler, even though we have needed to do quite a lot of things. So I don't want to keep client-side state. That's why I keep bypassing all these client-side libraries. It does. Oh, that's why I'll need to have a look offline to pick it out better, instead of making wild assumptions on the fly. Right, so created that, sorted. Let's do the same thing for the latest session and finally order by something else. Although I did like the carré idea. Oh, there was an emoji for this. All right, better, worse, who knows? But we want the same thing for the other column. That is sortable. So for any sortable column, we want this. And indeed, the one I'm talking about is the latest session one. And now, when we click latest session, we should sort by latest session. It's doing something. But I forgot to change this ternary as well, I guess. Oh no, I forgot to change the value of the input, of the hidden input. So now we're golden. There you go. Sort by this, or sort by the latest session date. And amazingly, like the three results that I have here, they help prove it, because Zoopla stays in the middle no matter how I sort for created at. But latest session, it will either go at the top or the end. Awesome. Couldn't have planned it better. So here's some sorting for you with nice little flip transition animations between the rows. I could do this all day, but I will not. I will move on. Where were we at? Now I have those links in the Discord, so I can close this. Didn't actually use the date picker. I was like, let's do it offline. Looked a bit more, but we did do those two things. And what remains is to filter based on a status, which is another thing that we don't have. Another thing that we don't have yet and we need to implement. So I'm thinking that an interview can have a status like active, declined, or pause, or something like I wouldn't want it to be something too dramatic, like rejected, but I'm not sure, or like accepted, or like offered, or declined. So I'm not sure, and it would be nice to have the little toggles here, so you can have like an easy filter. So you can see only the ones that are pending or active and not declined. But looking at the time, I may not do this today, and we may leave it for another day. We did make it to like the bonus column, so we'll see. Other things that we'd want to do in the future, as I mentioned, is that we may want to allow users to only be able to create a specific amount of interviews, because the point of this is to create a SaaS, and the most common way to create a SaaS is when you tell people, you give them a taste of the product and you make them love it and you make them want to use it more, but then you have like a kind of low limit in order to push them to be upsold to the actual paid version or the even more paid version. And the way we replicate that approach here is by allowing people to only have like 3 interviews or something, or 5. That's so the pagination as well. If they want more, they need to subscribe. Anything else that we should talk about regarding the pagination? The pagination itself could be customizable, the amount of items per page. You could have a drop down, and apps commonly do this. So you can actually say that I want to see 3 results per page, or 4, or 10, or whatever. And then the user gets to define how many they want to see per page, because for some people, just seeing 4 per page may be like annoying. And you may want to a higher number, but other people may have different screens or bigger fonts, so they may want to see fewer results per page. So having this be customizable would be neat. Again, I would use a form for this and have this be a search parameter where you can actually define per page and have it default to like 4 or something sensible. But then as you change the drop down, this would also update. Yeah, so that's the most of what we've done today. We did the search, we did some stuff in the end for hidden inputs in the search bar, so it will respect our ordering magic that we did. It's interesting how in this case, like sometimes you don't get the same items now that we're not searching for anything, so you get the view transitions crossfade. But when you're here, like you do get the items shuffled around. I love this. I love this effect. And we did the pagination, of course. We started with Melt UI, but then we hand rolled our own thing because it was a bit funky, staying consistent. I think it's expecting for us to use like the client side router in the response to clicking the button. Definitely wants us to be using buttons and not anchors for this. So I'm not sure. And I will think about making this like be a span that looks disabled as well, instead of an anchor, instead of it disappearing completely, because it is throwing me off how it changes. And I do have the no scroll attribute, but it doesn't seem to be respected. In those anchors, I keep getting scrolled back up. Oh well. But yeah, I think this will be it for today. And next stuff, we do have like more playwright stuff to talk about. There is a library that implements Faker behind the scenes to help with you writing mock data and populating your database, seeding your database. We may look into that in the future. And of course, we have the fun SaaS stuff with Stripe subscriptions. Oh, thank you so much. That's a great compliment. And it's even more fun for me to do this stuff when I have companionship from the chat. So I appreciate your activity today. But yeah, almost 4 hours in, I think we are gonna call it a stream and renew our dates for Tuesday. We usually do these streams on Tuesdays and Fridays. And when it is a Friday, like it is today, I wish you a very, very pleasant weekend. So I will switch to the face view for just a moment. As always, have a look in the description for links to these projects and the live apps and what I have in store for the future. The future ones are specific streams. It's not like one step and we do it and we move on like we did today. We did so many steps. We're not going to do all of this in one go, but that's what I predict the future will look like. Today's stream happened because someone commented that I should try pagination and search and sorting and filtering. So you too can affect what we'll be covering next, because I love covering things that people want to talk about. And if you have cool tech that you want to suggest, like a video you did today and you shared, I always look at it. And if I like it a lot and I find that there isn't enough documentation about it, if it's not well covered, I may even do a video about it or a stream. So once again, I hope you have lovely Friday evenings and lovely weekends, and I will see you all on